Why galactic law prohibits humans from waging wars, top HFY stories. The galaxy, vast and teeming with civilizations of unimaginable diversity, had long been governed by an intricate web of laws and treaties, crafted to ensure peace among the stars. For millennia, species from countless worlds had coexisted under the watchful eyes of the Galactic Council, a body formed to mediate disputes and prevent the horrors of war from sweeping through the cosmos. The laws of the galaxy were clear. No civilization could engage in aggressive warfare, and every species was bound by the principle of peaceful coexistence. Yet, there was one species whose mere existence seemed to defy these laws: humans. Their unique blend of resilience, ingenuity, and unwavering willpower set them apart from every other species the galaxy had encountered, and because of this, they had earned the respect and fear of every galactic power. The unbreakable spirit of humanity. Humanity's reputation had spread like wildfire across the stars. It wasn't just their ability to adapt to nearly any environment or their ingenuity in overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds that made them so dangerous. It was their unyielding spirit, their refusal to back down, no matter the cost. Other species may have fought for survival, but humans fought for something more: freedom, honor, and the preservation of their way of life. The first contact with the galactic powers had been a turbulent one. When the humans first reached the stars, their technology was primitive by galactic standards, but they possessed an untamable ambition. They had been colonizing planets and expanding their reach, often without regard for the long-established peace treaties that governed the galaxy. The older, more advanced species had attempted to impose their laws on them, hoping to reign in this unpredictable new player. But it quickly became clear that the humans could not be subdued by mere threats or negotiations. Time and again, they had stood their ground, their military strength growing exponentially with each conflict. They did not fight for conquest or power, but for the sheer thrill of proving that they could never be defeated. Their wars were often unprovoked, but once engaged, they fought with an intensity that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The First Galactic War. The tipping point came during the First Galactic War, when humanity's defense of a small colony on the edge of the galaxy turned into a full-scale conflict. It began when a powerful alien empire, the North, attempted to take over a human settlement in a distant star system. At first, it seemed like an easy victory for the North. After all, they were technologically superior and had thousands of ships at their disposal. But the humans, despite being vastly outnumbered, fought back with a ferocity that no one had ever expected. The North, thinking it would be a simple skirmish, were quickly caught off guard. Their initial victories were turned into crushing defeats as human ingenuity and strategy overwhelmed their superior numbers. The war dragged on for years, with no side willing to concede. But the humans, despite their losses, never stopped fighting. In the end, the North were forced to retreat, but at a cost. The war had destroyed entire systems, and countless lives had been lost on both sides. The galaxy had never witnessed such brutality, and the consequences were far-reaching. The Galactic Council, composed of representatives from dozens of different species, convened to address the issue. The resolution was swift and unanimous. The Galactic Law. Humanity's victory, though impressive, had come at a grave cost, not just to the North, but to the galaxy as a whole. The destruction wrought by the war had threatened the very fabric of galactic peace. In response, the Galactic Council passed a sweeping new law, the Humanity Clause, which effectively banned humans from engaging in any form of military aggression or war. The law was simple: humanity could defend itself, but it could not wage wars. It could not start conflicts, nor could it engage in military actions unless directly attacked. If any human-led force was found violating this edict, the consequences would be dire. A galactic-wide alliance would mobilize to stop them. Why such a draconian measure? The answer lay in the nature of humanity itself. No other species in the galaxy could match the sheer determination and willpower of humans once they were cornered. It wasn't about their technology or numbers. It was about their heart. The human spirit, when unleashed in battle, could not be reasoned with or easily extinguished. The Galactic Council feared that if humans ever turned their eyes outward to the stars with the intent to conquer, no one would be safe. The cost of peace. In the years that followed, the humans, though chafing under the restriction, began to adapt. They still fought, But their wars were now defensive in nature, protecting their colonies, their loved ones, their way of life. Yet, each time a skirmish broke out, the rest of the galaxy watched closely, knowing that the consequences of a large-scale war with humanity could be catastrophic. It was a paradox. The very qualities that made humanity so dangerous also made them invaluable to the galactic peace. When the galaxy faced its darkest hours, when invaders came from beyond the known universe, when terror and despair seemed inevitable, it was humanity that stood as the bulwark against annihilation. Time and time again, they would rally, fighting not just for survival, but for the survival of every living being in the galaxy. And in doing so, they earned their place in the history of the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors. Top HFY Stories. The tales of humanity's role in the galaxy spread far and wide, inspiring countless stories that became known as HFY, humanity. Yeah. Stories. These stories captured the essence of why humanity had earned both respect and fear in the galactic community. 1. The Battle of Arelis Prime. When an overwhelming alien force descended on a human colony, the inhabitants had no hope of surviving, but a small group of human soldiers, using nothing but their wits and their sheer determination, turned the tide of the battle, creating a legend that would echo throughout the galaxy for millennia. 2. The Martian Stand. On Mars, humans found themselves facing an invasion from an intergalactic warlord. Rather than retreating, they built a defensive force from nothing, fighting back with the full force of their ingenuity. The battle was won not with advanced technology, but with human ingenuity, spirit, and an unrelenting will to survive. 3. The Last Stand of the Sol Defense Fleet. When an ancient alien race, the Zogoth, attempted to invade Earth itself, humanity's forces made a final stand to defend their homeworld. Against overwhelming odds, the Sol Defense Fleet held out long enough to send a distress signal to the galaxy. The response was swift, but it was humanity's fierce defense that turned the tide of the conflict. These stories, and many more like them, served as a testament to what humanity could accomplish when faced with adversity. They were proof that, no matter the odds, humans would never be broken. Conclusion. Thus, galactic law remains as it is. Humans may never wage war, but they are a force that no one dares to challenge. For in their hearts, the fire of resistance burns eternal, and the galaxy knows that to ever face humanity in battle is to face an enemy that will never surrender. And so, the galaxy rests in uneasy peace, forever wary of the one species whose greatest strength is their refusal to back down. The legend of humanity continues, a story that reminds all that, sometimes, the greatest power lies not in the weapons one wields, but in the unyielding spirit of those who refuse to be conquered. The rise of the human defenders. Why galactic law is still tested. Despite the galactic law that prohibited humans from waging wars, the galaxy was never at ease. The law, passed to maintain the delicate peace, could not ignore the fact that the human spirit was, in its own way, a wild card. Although humanity could no longer initiate wars, the fire that burned within them was not so easily extinguished. As the centuries passed, tensions began to rise, and the need for human intervention in galactic conflicts became unavoidable. The human role, once thought to be restricted to mere defense, evolved into something far more complex and nuanced. The unseen threat, the xenophage. While the galaxy at large was focused on its laws and protocols, a new and hidden threat began to brew. The xenophage, a race of parasitic creatures, had been quietly expanding at the fringes of known space. These creatures, born from a dark, ancient force, were capable of infiltrating and consuming entire civilizations. Their presence undetected until it was far too late. They had learned to mimic the appearance and behavior of other species, silently infiltrating planets and subverting entire systems. Their endgame was simple: to consume all life, to assimilate the very fabric of the galaxy into their hunger. The galaxy's governing bodies, entrenched in their own politics and maintaining a fragile peace, failed to recognize the growing threat of the xenophage. The council had grown complacent, too focused on maintaining the fragile equilibrium that they missed the whispers of a far more dangerous force on the horizon. But humans, with their unrelenting vigilance and deep sense of self-preservation, had begun to notice the signs. The human response. It started as a whisper, small, Scattered reports of strange occurrences on the edges of human space, colonies going dark without explanation, strange patterns of disappearances. But the humans, with their dogged persistence, began to put the pieces together. As the xenophage spread, they realized something that no one else had. The xenophage didn't just destroy, they consumed. They learned, and they adapted faster than any other species. Though the galactic law still stood, prohibiting humanity from initiating aggressive actions, there was a realization among the human leaders that this was an existential threat, not just to them, but to the entire galaxy. In a quiet, unofficial alliance between the most powerful human factions, a strategy was formed, and soon the first covert operation was launched. Humans, with their ingenuity, forged a new type of weapon, not a weapon of destruction, but one of survival, seeds of technology capable of exposing and counteracting the xenophage's parasitic infiltration. They began inserting agents into systems suspected of being compromised, their mission to find and eliminate the xenophage at its source. These covert operations, under the radar of galactic law, became the first real test of whether humanity could remain passive in a universe that seemed to be spiraling into chaos. The breaking of the law, the Battle of Solara. As the xenophage grew stronger, it began to encroach upon human-controlled territory. When the infestation reached Solara, a strategically important human colony, the situation became dire. The humans knew that this wasn't just another threat, it was the test of their very survival. The Solara system was already under quarantine, with entire sectors cut off from communication. The xenophage had taken root on the largest planet in the system, and despite their best efforts, no one had been able to root them out. The Galactic Council was, as always, slow to act. In their bureaucratic fashion, they sent only half-hearted contingents of soldiers and peacekeepers, far too little, far too late. At this moment, the human leadership made a bold, unprecedented decision. They would break the law. They sent in a full, unregulated military force, the sole defense fleet, despite knowing the consequences would be severe. Their fleet, equipped with advanced human technologies and top-secret biological countermeasures, descended upon Solara with a single, clear mission: eradicate the xenophage, no matter the cost. The battle was fierce. Solara's skies turned red as explosions echoed across the planet. The xenophage fought with an intelligence and savagery unlike any enemy humanity had ever faced. But the human forces, determined to save their people, pushed forward with relentless intensity. And, against all odds, they succeeded. After months of combat, the xenophage were finally driven off. The fleet, battered but triumphant, returned to human space, and humanity's darkest hour was averted. However, the victory came at a steep price. The Galactic Council, enraged by humanity's blatant violation of the law, condemned the actions taken on Solara. A new order. Despite the Council's anger, something had changed in the galaxy. The other species, who had long seen humanity as a dangerous anomaly, began to view them differently. The human victory against the xenophage had proven one critical point: when the survival of the galaxy was at stake, the galaxy needed humans. Their refusal to abide by laws that endangered their very existence had saved countless lives. While the galactic law still stood, banning humanity from initiating warfare, it had become clear that humans were no longer just a force to be feared. They were a force of necessity, a last line of defense against threats beyond the comprehension of most other species. The human legacy, defenders of the galaxy. As years passed, humanity continued to quietly challenge the very laws that sought to limit them. They did not seek conquest. They sought survival. They did not desire power. They desired freedom for all. The stories of human heroes, those who defied the council and the law to save the galaxy, began to inspire a new generation of beings across the stars. These stories were told not as cautionary tales, but as legends of resilience, bravery, and the sheer force of will. 4. The Xenophage War. The unsung heroes. When a full-scale invasion of xenophage forces began to overwhelm several planets, it was humanity that rallied the remaining galactic forces to fight back. The resulting conflict, known as the Xenophage War, became a turning point in galactic history. Humanity, armed with the knowledge of the xenophage's weaknesses, spearheaded a joint effort that would ultimately drive the invaders from the galaxy. 5. The Human-Galaxian Accord. In the wake of their victory on Solara, humanity forged a delicate peace with the Galaxian Empire, a highly advanced but isolationist race. The Galaxians, initially distrustful of human methods, came to respect humanity's will to protect the galaxy and formed a powerful alliance that would help maintain peace throughout their corner of the universe. The legacy of the humans, once thought to be a reckless force of chaos, had shifted into something else entirely: defenders of peace, the first responders to cosmic disasters, and the protectors of the galaxy's future. While the law still bound them in ways other species could not understand, humanity had found their place in the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians, ready to stand against any threat that dared to disrupt the fragile peace of the galaxy. Thus, while the galactic law forbade humanity from waging wars, it could never fully contain the spirit of a species determined to survive. The galaxy had learned that sometimes the greatest strength lay not in adhering to the law, but in knowing when to break it to save everything that was worth protecting. The legacy of humanity, guardians of the cosmos. Years had passed since humanity had broken the galactic law on Solara, and the galaxy was forever changed. Though the law still prohibited humans from waging wars of aggression, the universe could no longer view humanity as a mere bystander to galactic peace. Humanity had demonstrated a capability and resolve that no other species could match: the ability to rise against the most dire threats and protect what others took for granted. However, despite their heroism and sacrifices, the question remained: how long could the humans remain content as the galaxy's protectors without stirring the deep unrest that had always accompanied their very existence? The Council's response: a necessary evil. After the devastating Xenophage War, the Galactic Council faced a growing dilemma. While humanity had proven itself essential in the survival of many species, the question of how to keep their power in check persisted. The Council had long held the view that peace required the containment of human ambition. But after Solara and the Xenophage conflict, the law prohibiting humans from engaging in warfare began to feel increasingly irrelevant. Faced with the new reality, the Council had little choice but to adapt. They acknowledged that humanity's actions had, in many cases, been necessary to save the galaxy from destruction, but they also recognized that a species capable of such devastatingly efficient defense might one day turn those same tactics inward, seeking power or dominance. A new treaty was drafted, the Humanity Peace Pact. It was an extension of the original law, but with subtle shifts. Humanity was still prohibited from waging war without provocation, but in exchange, they were given a critical role in the future of the galaxy. The pact established humanity as the defenders of the galaxy, a permanent, semi-autonomous force tasked with responding to cosmic threats and disasters. Humans were to remain a check against the most dangerous factions, whether Xenophage, rogue AIs, or existential threats from the deepest corners of the cosmos. Yet, as with any such treaty, the implementation was controversial. Some species viewed the pact as a necessary concession, while others, especially those who had once feared humanity's power, began to question if humanity's newfound role would lead to more power and autonomy than any one species should possess. The rise of the human defenders, a new order. Under the banner of the Humanity Peace Pact, the human fleet became a formidable force. The Sole Defense Fleet, initially a series of makeshift units formed during the Xenophage War, now stood as the backbone of this new defensive order. The fleet had expanded, incorporating not only human vessels but also ships contributed by various galactic species who saw the need to bolster the defense of the galaxy against cosmic threats. The human soldiers, once seen as raw and unpredictable warriors, were now regarded as highly disciplined and strategic defenders. Their experience with the Xenophage, combined with their near-mythical tenacity, made them the galaxy's most formidable force in times of crisis. Despite the restrictions placed on them, humanity's role as the galaxy's first responders became a cornerstone of peacekeeping. The Human Defense Initiative, HDI, an interstellar organization founded by human-led coalitions, was tasked with tracking down potential threats, gathering intelligence on unknown civilizations, and preparing contingencies for galaxy-wide defense. While the HDI remained an independent faction, it worked closely with the Galactic Council, though always keeping a watchful eye on the delicate balance of power. But as humanity's influence grew, so did their internal struggles. There were those among the human leadership who began to question if this role limited as it was by the Humanity Peace Pact, was enough. Some began to push for a more assertive stance, arguing that, if humanity was to be the galaxy's defenders, they should be able to dictate the terms of that defense. The potential for internal strife was real. The First Interstellar Rebellion, the rise of the Ares faction. A decade after the signing of the Humanity Peace Pact, the seeds of dissent began to take root. A faction of human military leaders and civilians, calling themselves the Ares faction, argued that humanity should not only defend the galaxy, but that they should have the freedom to shape its future. They believed that their military prowess, their moral superiority, and their unparalleled resolve gave them the right to govern, to lead, and to enforce order. The Ares faction began to recruit disillusioned humans and sympathetic alien species who felt that the galaxy's current order was flawed. They saw the Galactic Council as inefficient, corrupt, and self-interested, with too many species clinging to their old ways of thinking. The Ares faction wanted a new order, one led by humanity, with the goal of building a future where peace could be established through strength and resolve. The rebellion began in the Outer Rim, where fringe worlds with little connection to the Council felt abandoned by the galactic powers. There, the Ares faction began to gain a foothold, claiming that humanity's strength could usher in a new era for the galaxy. The first act of aggression came when the Ares faction seized control of a series of defense stations, effectively taking control of human military assets outside the direct reach of the Galactic Council. For the first time in centuries, human forces were once again in open conflict, not with external invaders, but with other humans. The question of whether humanity could maintain its role as defenders of peace without becoming its own greatest threat now hung in the balance. The legacy of the human defenders, a new beginning. The conflict, known as the Ares Rebellion, was a pivotal moment for humanity and the galaxy as a whole. It was not a war for conquest, but for ideals, the belief that humanity was destined to lead, to reshape the galaxy for the better. The Ares faction was ultimately defeated after a series of intense battles, but their message resonated with many. Their arguments about humanity's destiny as a force of order and strength had sparked a debate that would not easily fade. In the aftermath, humanity's role in the galaxy was once again questioned. The Galactic Council, recognizing the growing influence of humanity, began to offer new forms of governance and cooperation, trying to ensure that no single species, humanity included, would ever hold too much power. The human legacy had become complex. No longer were they seen simply as the defenders of the galaxy, but as the embers of a revolution that could shape the future. While humanity's role remained one of defense, their influence had grown, and their place in the galaxy's future was no longer a question of if, but when. Top HFY Stories. 6. The Siege of Alpha Station, when the Ares faction took control of a strategically important military base. It was humanity's finest hour. A small group of loyalist human soldiers launched a daring operation to reclaim the station, outsmarting a far superior enemy force using nothing but their knowledge of human ingenuity and their ability to think outside the box. It became a symbol of why humanity, though bound by law, could never be underestimated. 7. The Shattered Horizon, when an entire star system was on the verge of collapse due to a dying star. It was the human-led Human Defense Initiative that managed to evacuate billions, saving entire species from extinction. The effort was fraught with danger, requiring humans to push the limits of their technology and bravery. It was a story of survival, teamwork, and the unwavering resolve of a species that would not let others fall. The unbroken will, humanity's legacy and the rebirth of the starborn order. The galaxy, ever-changing and full of turmoil, had witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the rise of great alliances, and the emergence of civilizations that would come to define the future of the cosmos. But amidst all the chaos and uncertainty, there was one constant: the legacy of humanity. No matter the political struggles, the shifting powers, or the growing threats from the void, humanity had carved out a place for itself, and with each new crisis, the human spirit had only become more resilient, more unyielding, and more ingrained into the fabric of the galaxy. The Ares faction's defeat had been a decisive turning point, but it wasn't the end. What followed in its wake was a transformation, one that would shape the galaxy's future in ways that no one could have foreseen. The Starborn Order, a new dawn. In the years following the Ares Rebellion, the Galactic Council, with its many species and factions, came to a realization: humanity could no longer be a passive player in the galaxy. While the laws continued to limit their power, it was clear that humanity's influence could no longer be contained. Their ingenuity, their adaptability, and their fierce desire to protect the galaxy's future made them indispensable. And so, a new order was established, a peacekeeping body that included not only the old guard of the Galactic Council but also a new, influential human-led faction. This new organization, the Starborn Order, was formed as a collaborative effort between humans and other species, aimed at ensuring the galaxy's safety and continued prosperity. It was not a military body, nor was it a government in the traditional sense. Rather, it was a coalition of defenders, those chosen to uphold the peace through intelligence, diplomacy, and, when necessary, force. At the heart of the Starborn Order was humanity's leadership. The human spirit, once feared as a source of uncontrollable aggression, now became the driving force behind the galaxy's defense against the unknown. Humanity's reputation as fearless warriors, coupled with their capacity for building alliances and creating innovative solutions, made them the natural leaders of this new endeavor. The dawn of the Galactic Guardians. The Starborn Order was not just a defense force, it was a way of life. Humans, having fought through countless wars and cosmic crises, now served as the leaders and protectors of the galaxy's most vulnerable systems. The humans' legacy had transformed them from the wild-card species to one that exemplified stability, order, and the will to protect all life, regardless of race or origin. Under the guidance of the Order, many galactic species began to see humanity not as a threat, but as the very heart of the galaxy's future. As tensions with other factions and hostile forces like the Zogoth Empire and the Ritharian Marauders continued to bubble beneath the surface, the Starborn Order became a symbol of hope. It was no longer just about human survival, it was about galactic survival. The humans had fought for their right to be free, and now they fought to ensure that freedom was maintained for all, whether through securing the fringes of galactic space, negotiating peace between rival factions, or confronting external threats that sought to bring destruction to all. Humanity had become the stewards of the galaxy, the harbingers of change, the Vrather invasion. While the Starborn Order had ushered in an era of peace, the galaxy was never truly safe, and humanity, for all its strength, could never predict the next existential threat that would challenge them. The Vrather, an ancient and nearly forgotten race, emerged from the depths of the galaxy's uncharted territories, far more advanced than the Xenophage. The Vrather were a civilization built on conquest and war. Their technology was staggering, able to warp space itself, manipulate time in small pockets, and wipe entire fleets from existence with a single command. Their invasion began with a single strike against a remote system near the galactic core, one that was heavily populated by peaceful species. The Vrather didn't seek territory, they didn't seek resources, they sought only one thing: annihilation. The Starborn Order quickly mobilized, with humanity at the forefront of the effort. They knew they had faced existential threats before, but this was something new. The Vrather didn't care for the political nuances of galactic treaties or the delicate balance of power the Galactic Council had worked so hard to preserve. They came with one goal: destruction. As the galaxy's defenders, humanity was called upon to lead the charge against the invaders. Once again, the Sol Defense Fleet took the spotlight, but this time, humanity would not rely on sheer strength alone. They would use every tool at their disposal: diplomacy, technological innovation, and strategic cunning, to prevent the galaxy from being reduced to ashes. The last gamble, humanity's bold plan. As the Vrather pushed deeper into human space, it became clear that conventional methods of defense would not be enough. Humanity had faced threats that were relentless, but this enemy was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The Vrather, with their ability to manipulate time, rendered much of the human fleet's strategy useless. In the face of certain defeat, a group of human scientists, engineers, and military strategists, led by the legendary Captain Kiera Voss, proposed a daring and unprecedented plan, a last-ditch effort to turn the tide of the war. They would create a device capable of disrupting the Vrather's control over time, destabilizing their very foundation of power. The plan was risky. The technology to manipulate the flow of time was theoretical at best, and there was no guarantee it would even work. Worse, The Wrather would stop at nothing to prevent the humans from executing their plan. Captain Voss, however, was determined. "We've faced the impossible before," she said, rallying her team. "This isn't a war for survival alone, it's a war to prove that no matter the enemy, no matter the odds, we will always find a way." The device, known as the Temporal Disruptor, was built in secret on a human moonbase. Once activated, it would create a rip in the space-time continuum around the Wrather fleet, momentarily disrupting their time manipulation abilities. The operation was launched in a final, desperate assault on the Wrather's flagship, a massive warship known as the Vrantor, which was capable of rewriting the very laws of physics within its proximity. The battle was fierce. The Wrather had expected a typical human response, one of tactical retreats and defense, but what they didn't anticipate was humanity's willingness to sacrifice everything. In the final moments, with the Temporal Disruptor activated, the human fleet made a suicidal charge at the Vrantor. The victory and its cost. The device worked, but at a terrible cost. The Vrantor's collapse sent shockwaves throughout the Wrather fleet, destabilizing their ability to control time. For the first time in centuries, the Wrather were left vulnerable, allowing the full might of the Starborn Order to bring them to their knees. Captain Kiera Voss and many others perished in the final battle. The galaxy had been saved, but humanity had once again paid the price. In the aftermath of the victory, the Galactic Council issued a formal commendation to humanity, recognizing not only their role in the battle but their ability to stand as the galaxy's unbroken protectors. The Eternal Flame. Humanity's legacy, once thought to be a flash in the pan of galactic history, had evolved into something far more permanent. The Starborn Order, with humanity at its heart, had become the beating heart of galactic peace. The dawn of humanity's new era, Guardians of the Stars. In the aftermath of the Wrather invasion, the galaxy entered a period of cautious optimism. The human-led Starborn Order had proven itself not just a force of protection, but the moral compass that would guide the galaxy into a new age. The loss of life had been devastating, but in the ashes of their sacrifice, humanity had ignited something even more powerful, a sense of unity among the galaxy's diverse species. For the first time in known history, peace was not merely an absence of war. It was the result of deliberate action and an unbreakable will to preserve life, liberty, and the very existence of the galaxy itself. Humanity's reputation had shifted from a species defined by their aggressive potential to one defined by their capacity for resilience and leadership. Their actions had changed the galactic landscape forever. But even as the galaxy healed, humanity knew that the price of peace was constant vigilance. The horrors of the Wrather invasion were still fresh, and though the immediate threat had been quelled, the question on everyone's mind was, what came next? The unknown depths, the first signs of the Voidborn. Just as the galaxy was beginning to rebuild, new reports from the galactic fringes began to emerge, whispers of a new, far more enigmatic and dangerous threat. The Voidborn, a species unknown to galactic records, were observed on the edges of known space. These beings existed in the deepest voids between star systems and were rumored to have control over the very fabric of reality. Some speculated they were the architects of the galaxy's chaos, pulling strings from the shadows and orchestrating the rise of threats like the Xenophage and the Wrather. Unlike previous enemies, the Voidborn were not creatures of flesh and blood, but rather ethereal beings capable of manipulating energy and dark matter. No one had seen them directly, only traces of their presence, planets drained of energy, systems slowly destabilizing, and faint signals distorted beyond recognition. These signs pointed toward an enemy unlike anything the galaxy had faced before. Humanity, in its eternal role as the galaxy's protectors, was once again thrust into the heart of a new war. But this time, there would be no conventional battlefields. The Voidborn were not interested in military conquest, they sought something far darker and more elusive. And the Starborn Order, led by humanity, would have to adapt once more to face an enemy they couldn't even truly comprehend. The gathering of allies, uniting the galaxy against the unknown. The Voidborn were unlike any threat humanity had ever encountered. Their motives were unclear, their methods elusive, and their presence almost intangible. No military strategy, no fleet of ships, and no weapon could stop something that existed in a dimension so foreign to known science. In response, humanity sought to build even stronger alliances than before. The unified Galactic Council, an expanded form of the old council, was reinvigorated by humanity's leadership, with a singular purpose: to fight back the encroaching darkness of the Voidborn. The human role had evolved again, and this time, it was not only about defending the galaxy, it was about understanding the very fabric of existence itself. The Nexus Protocol, a top-secret human initiative, became the galaxy's best hope, led by the brightest minds from every species. The protocol was designed to unlock the secrets of the Voidborn and, if possible, find a way to fight them with the same tools they used to twist the very essence of space and time. It was a collaboration between technology and mysticism. As humanity began to integrate the ancient knowledge of forgotten civilizations with cutting-edge science, there were whispers of old, secret knowledge that humanity had uncovered in their efforts to protect the galaxy, knowledge that would play a pivotal role in the coming conflict. The greatest minds of the galaxy, led by humanity's brightest scholars and engineers, sought to build a weapon of untold power, capable of directly confronting the Voidborn. This new initiative, the Singularity Project, would create a device capable of altering the flow of time itself, not as a defense, but as an offensive weapon, designed to disrupt the Voidborn's grip on the universe's fundamental laws. But as with every great undertaking, there were those who doubted the wisdom of this course. Could humanity truly control such power? Was it right to challenge the very forces of nature that shaped the galaxy? The first encounter, the emergence of the Voidborn. The first true encounter with the Voidborn came not in the form of a battle, but in an eerie silence. A peaceful colony on the edge of the galactic core, a thriving world known as Ithri, was the first to experience the full effects of the Voidborn's presence. The colony's star, once stable and bright, began to flicker in and out of existence. Reports came in of entire sections of the planet where time itself seemed to unravel, people aging rapidly, others becoming frozen in place as if caught in an endless loop. When a human-led fleet arrived at Ithri, they found nothing but ruins. The Voidborn had already passed through, leaving only empty cities and a slowly dying sun behind. Worse still, they had left behind something far more terrifying, a message, or rather, a warning. The message was not in any language known to the galaxy. It was not even a sound, but a series of shifting waves of light and energy. The human linguists, in partnership with the galaxy's most advanced xenolinguists, worked tirelessly to decode the meaning of the message. But what they found shook them to their core. "We are the Voidborn. Your galaxy is but a flicker in the dark. We have always been here. You are nothing but echoes in the abyss." With this, the galaxy understood the true scope of the threat it faced. The Voidborn were not invaders from some far-off star. They had always been present, silently manipulating the forces of the universe. And now, they had turned their attention to the galaxy in full force. Humanity's last stand, the battle of the singularity. In a galaxy that had witnessed countless wars, this new conflict was unlike any other. It was not a battle between species or empires. It was a fight for existence itself. Humanity, with its relentless spirit, was at the forefront of the charge, leading an alliance of species that had once been divided. The Starborn Order, now fully integrated into the fabric of galactic defense, spearheaded the creation of a massive fleet of ships, weaponized with the most advanced technologies humanity had developed, aimed directly at understanding and confronting the Voidborn. The Singularity Device, the culmination of years of research and human ingenuity, was activated during a desperate confrontation in the heart of the galaxy. It was designed to create a singularity, an artificial black hole capable of swallowing the very fabric of the Voidborn's reality manipulation. It was the galaxy's final hope. The battle that followed was a testament to human perseverance. The Voidborn launched a full-scale attack on the fleet, manipulating time and space itself to slow down and confuse the defenders. But humanity fought back, using the Singularity Device as a beacon of hope, even as many lost their lives. As the device activated, space itself began to twist, the very stars flickered, and time bent in on itself. In the final moments, the Voidborn fleet collapsed into nothingness, their manipulation of reality shattered by the destructive power of the device. A new era, the Galaxy Reborn. The defeat of the Voidborn marked a new beginning for the galaxy. Humanity had proven, once again, that they could overcome the impossible. Their ability to unite, to innovate, and to sacrifice for the greater good had brought the galaxy back from the brink of annihilation. The ascendance of the Starborn, humanity's eternal legacy. The victory over the Voidborn had ensured the survival of the galaxy, but it had also marked the beginning of a new chapter in human history. The galaxy, once fractured by centuries of war and conflict, now began to heal, bound together by the common purpose of defending life, peace, and prosperity. Humanity's role in this new age of unity was clear. They were the galaxy's eternal guardians, protectors of every species, and the keepers of peace in a universe that would never again take its survival for granted. The scars of battle still lingered, both in the hearts of those who had lost so much and in the stars that had witnessed such destruction. But as the galaxy healed, a new era of exploration and discovery began. The Starborn Order, now fully established as the backbone of galactic security, spearheaded this golden age, and humanity, ever at the center of this order, led not with brute force, but with wisdom, compassion, and a deep commitment to maintaining the fragile peace they had fought so hard to protect. The convergence of the seven spheres, a new vision for the future. The galaxy had changed forever. The events of the Voidborn War had shown that no matter how strong or advanced a species might be, survival was no longer about individual strength. It was about the unity of all sentient beings working together to preserve the galaxy from the unknown, and to explore the great mysteries that awaited them beyond the stars. This new vision of the galaxy's future came to be known as the convergence of the seven spheres. It was a guiding principle that would shape every decision made by the Starborn Order and its allies. The seven spheres represented seven fundamental aspects of galactic life. Each sphere was a key to the galaxy's survival and growth. Unity, the recognition that the strength of the galaxy came not from individual species, but from their collective will to protect life. Exploration, the ongoing quest to uncover the mysteries of the universe, understanding not only what was, but what could be. The galaxy was far from mapped, and humanity led the charge in exploration beyond known space. Defense, humanity's unyielding role as the galaxy's shield, whether through diplomacy or military strength. They were the guardians against all threats. Knowledge, the pursuit of knowledge in all its forms, scientific, philosophical, and cultural. Humanity's technological advances had already begun to change the way the galaxy understood the universe, and now they sought to share this knowledge with all. Sustainability, a new commitment to preserving the natural balance of the galaxy's ecosystems. The damage caused by war and exploitation in the past was not forgotten, and a new era of environmental stewardship began. Diplomacy, the art of negotiation and peacekeeping. Humanity's reputation as fierce warriors was now balanced by their equally respected ability to broker peace, to build alliances, and to maintain harmony in the galaxy. Innovation, the continuous drive to innovate and push the boundaries of what was possible. Humanity's ingenuity had been key to their survival and success, and the galaxy now relied on their creativity to overcome the challenges of the future. Each of these seven spheres was woven together, and humanity stood at the center as the galaxy's guiding force. The legacy of their past struggles was not merely a story of survival, but a beacon of hope, a model for every species that peace was not only possible but sustainable if they worked together. The rise of the galactic architects, shaping the future. With the galaxy united under the seven spheres, humanity's greatest minds turned to the task of shaping the future. The galactic architects, as they were called, were a group of visionaries, scientists, philosophers, engineers, and diplomats who worked under the guidance of humanity's leaders to map out the future of galactic civilization. The galactic architects began by establishing a network of unified colonies, strategically placed across the galaxy to promote cooperation between species and ensure that no part of the galaxy would ever again fall into chaos. These colonies were not just bastions of survival, but hubs of knowledge, creativity, and cultural exchange. The idea was not merely to settle new planets, but to create true communities that embodied the principles of the seven spheres. One of the most ambitious projects led by the galactic architects was the construction of the Starforge network. This interconnected system of space stations, research centers, and shipyards would serve as the foundation for a new era of exploration and scientific discovery. The network would be a place where all species could come together to share ideas, build new technologies, and explore the stars in ways never before possible. Humanity, with their ingenuity and determination, led the charge in this endeavor, overseeing the creation of the first Star Forge, the largest space station ever built, located in the heart of a newly discovered star system on the edge of the galaxy. It would become a symbol of what was possible when species worked together, united by a common cause. The restoration of the great archives, preserving the past, shaping the future. While the galaxy looked to the future, humanity never forgot the lessons of the past. They knew that in order to build a brighter future, it was essential to understand where they had come from. As part of their commitment to the Seven Spheres, humanity led the restoration of the Great Archives, an ancient collection of knowledge from all the species of the galaxy, many of which had been lost or corrupted during the Great Wars. The Great Archives, once hidden and scattered across countless planets, were now being restored to their former glory. These archives contained the stories of the galaxy's first civilizations, the rise and fall of empires, and the wisdom of the ancestors who had shaped the galaxy's history. Humanity's scholars, working with the galaxy's best minds, sought to preserve these invaluable records, ensuring that the mistakes of the past would not be repeated. The restoration of the Great Archives became a symbol of hope for the future, a reminder that, while the galaxy's history was filled with tragedy, it was also filled with triumph. The knowledge stored within those archives would help the galaxy's future generations avoid the pitfalls of their ancestors and guide them toward a more prosperous and peaceful existence. Humanity's eternal role, the guardians of the galaxy. As the decades passed, humanity's role as the galaxy's guardians was no longer just a title, it was an enduring responsibility. The Starborn Order had become an institution, respected by every species for its unwavering commitment to peace and security. Humanity, though no longer the sole protectors of the galaxy, had solidified its place as the guiding force behind the Order, ensuring that the galaxy would never again fall into the chaos it had once known. The legacy of their struggle was immortalized in stories and songs, passed down from generation to generation. The galaxy, once a chaotic and fractured place, had become a unified force for peace, and humanity's role in that transformation would never be forgotten. The final frontier, a new era of exploration. Even as peace reigned, there was still so much more to discover. The farthest reaches of the galaxy remained unexplored, and new questions arose with every new discovery. The Interstellar Exploration Initiative, led by humanity, set its sights on these uncharted territories, pushing beyond the limits of known space to uncover the secrets of the universe.